There are certain books you find that author something that sets it apart from the rest. It can be the concept, the plot, the cast of characters, or how balls to the wall it's saying it can get. Lucky for us, this one uses all of them. Hello Internet, welcome to Bookworm Reviews. I'm your host the Bookworm, and Dragon Month continues with a true classic in every sense of the word. Sit back and relax as we dive into Dragonflight, the first of the Dragon Riders of Pern series by Anne McCaffrey.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view. No.
This is, without a doubt, one of the craziest settings you will find. I'm just going to read the introduction, but take my word and go with it, cause things are only going to get weirder from here on out. When is a legend legend? Why is a myth a myth? How old and disused must a fact be for it to be regulated to the category fairy tale? And why do certain facts remain incontrovertible while others lose their validity to assume a shabby, unstable character? Rookback, in the Sagittarian sector, was a golden G-type star. It had 5 planets, and one stray it had attached and held in recent millennia. Its 3rd planet was enveloped by air man could breathe, boasted water he could drink, and possessed a gravity that permitted man to walk confidently erect. Men discovered it and promptly colonized it. They did that to every habitable planet, and then, whether callously or through collapse of empire, the colonists never discovered and eventually forgot to ask, left the colonies to fend for themselves. When men first settled on Rookback's 3rd world and named it Pern, they had taken little notice of the stranger planet, swinging around its adopted primary in a wildly erratic elliptical orbit. Within a few generations, they had forgotten its existence. The desperate path the wanderer pursued brought it close to its stepsister every 200 Turan years at perihelion, when the aspects were harmonious and the conjunction with its sister planet close enough. As it often was, the indigenous life of the wanderer sought to bridge the space gap to a more temperate and hospitable planet. It was during the frantic struggle to combat this menace, dropping through Pern's skies like silver threads, that Pern's tenuous contact with the mother planet was broken. Recollections of Earth receded further from Pernese history with each successive generation, until memory of their origins degenerated past legend or myth into oblivion. To forestall the incursions of the dreadful threads, the Pernese, with the ingenuity of their forgotten Turian forebears, developed a highly specialized variety of a life form indigenous to their adopted planet. Such humans as had a high empathy rating and some innate telepathic ability were trained to use and preserve this unusual animal whose ability to teleport was of great value in the fierce struggle to keep Pern bare of threat. The winged, tailed, and fiery-breathed dragons, named for the earth legend they resembled. Their dragonmen, a breed apart, and the menace they battled created a whole new group of legends and myths. Once relieved of imminent danger, Pern settled into a more comfortable way of life. The descendants of heroes fell into disfavor, as the legends fell into disrepute. That is just the setup. Now the plot is this. It has been 400 turns since Thread has fallen. The Dragon Riders are a shell of their former self and considered a burden to the land. Most of the land is ruled under one ruler, Fax, as he spreads the word that Pern doesn't need dragons anymore. However, one of the captains, Philaire, knows the thread will come again. With the last queen dead, he goes off on the search to find the one woman who can become the next queen of the Dragon Riders. His search will bring him to Lessa, who is the sole survivor of the noble ruling family of Ruth the Hold, but hides as a servant as she plans to kill Fax and free her land. All this will lead to an adventure to bring the Dragon Riders back to greatness and save Pern from the thread. That is a lot to digest. Many have debated whether the Pern series is considered sci-fi or fantasy. It's really this strange blend of both worlds. The world of Pern is very much like a fantasy novel. The land, characters, dragons, all come off as something from fantasy. but many of its concepts are pure sci-fi, from the history and the introduction to other stuff I can't really say without spoiling the plot, but gives the series its unique look. But Anne has stated that it is sci-fi. So if you want the best of both worlds, here you go. One of the most interesting things about this book is that the main character is female and is one of the best sci-fi characters I have read. Lessa is one of those characters whose voice is very distinct. She's smart, determined, and bullheaded. Most of the story is on her and her rise to becoming the Dragon Queen. Considering this is from a genre that is mostly male and was written in 1967, and you have a true character that stands out. The other one, Philaire, is a lot like Lessa in many ways, but works as a military man, as he plans not only to raise Lessa into a proper queen, but the political struggle from within the writers and the outside world. Along with that is that the great threat is just a mindless parasite. Not some evil ruler or mastermind. In fact, they take care of that a fourth into the book. But a parasite, only doing what it does. It's also what makes it so threatening. You can't reason with it. You can't talk to it. It will only destroy anything that is organic till nothing is left. Now the dragons. Wow, are these babies unique. What makes them useful in the world of Pern is that they can teleport between spaces. It's how they are able to get to wherever they need to go to fight the threat with their fire breath. They are also telepathic with the riders they choose when they hatch. You think that is enough to make them distinct. But then they introduce... Well, I don't want to spoil it for you guys because the revelation is really amazing. But what works for it is that it fits in completely with the plot and raises the story to even greater heights. You don't know how much I really want to say it, but just read it and you'll be saying, "Great Scott!" One of my favorite things about Dragonflight is the story's center. It's a story about remembering tradition, but don't be afraid to try new things. Because when we start with them, the Dragon Riders are nearly destroyed by it, both from the outside world and inside their own ranks. After centuries of peace, people believe that the old songs are just legends, and in today's age, there is no use for them. That is where Lessa and Philaire come in. Seeing them work to bring the riders back, while the Red Star comes closer each day, is fascinating because you truly wonder how will they save the planet when all the odds are against them. Seeing what they consider tradition, and how they combine the old rules with new ideas to form a better society to save the world. Is there any way we can have every politician read this book? To wrap up, Dragonflight is a true sci-fi classic by one of the world's greatest female authors. In fact, Anne McCaffrey was the first woman to win a Hugo because of this book. If you've been reading modern fantasy or sci-fi for a while now, then you should do yourself a favor and read this classic that has influenced many works to this very day. For the genre review, it gets a 9 out of 10. It's a great read, but the text can be a bit thick for some. It's not as bad as other sci-fi stories, but if you want a true classic of a very distinct world to dive into, you can't go wrong here. My personal is a 7 out of 10. I found the book fun, crazy, and thought-provoking, but I did have a few issues with understanding the language of the land. However, that won't stop me from reading the many other books in the series. Considering how the first book ends, I really can't wait to see where they go next. Overall, Dragonflight gets a 5 out of 10. The main reason this is low is for a lot of people, this will simply be too weird, and the way it was written may not make it easy for people to get invested in. But I will still say to give it a try. Just because the concept is weird doesn't mean the story isn't one of the best the genre has to offer. Next week will be the last for Dragon Month. And for this one, I'm just picking at random. A story I have never heard of with an author I never read from before. What can go wrong? Till next time. Have a nice day.